Hello, everybody. So, we are going to start thinking about the 1.17 graded assignment, which is your speech project. It's the culminating, the ending project for Unit 1. It won't be due for a little bit. Today, it's not due. It's not due on Friday. It's not due on Monday. We'll give you a due date as we work through it in our CC sessions, so just keep that in mind. The standards attributed to it are these. So conduct short as well as more sustained research projects, because you will conduct research for your speech. And then gather relevant information from multiple authoritative print and digital sources, and then you're going to compile them into a speech. Your success criteria: you will know that you have met success when you plan a persuasive speech. Keep in mind it's persuasive, meaning you're going to give your opinion and then argue it, and then gather supporting information for a persuasive speech. So today's objective is to decide on the topic and then start looking for information to support your thoughts. So think about what you already know how to do. Can you use persuasive techniques? Do you know how to use hypophora, like asking a question and then answering it? Do you know how to use hyperbole, meaning like extreme exaggeration, in order to make your point? Okay. Do you know how to conduct research? That's huge, because if you don't know how to do that, then it's going to be really difficult to find facts to support your opinion. And the big one: have you ever written or delivered a speech? So here are some characteristics. We need to look at reliable electronic sources, because it's really important when you're conducting research that you know what is and is not reliable. And you guys know this. When you look at Wikipedia, you might want to question it just a little bit, because people can change things on a second-by-second basis. So it's really important that you know reliable sources is a source written by a professional, maybe a professor or somebody in the government, generally somebody who is a part of an entity of some sort. The information in the source is up to date, so maybe something from 1960 might not be as reliable as something from 2016. And then the source belongs to an educational or government institution. That's the most reliable, is something that's connected to an entity, because they're held accountable. Something that's a .com isn't always reliable because they're not held accountable. There's nobody checking up on them to make sure that their information is correct. So if somebody on a .com tells you that the sky is purple, it probably isn't. So maybe double check your information with another source. So as far as planning a speech, let's watch this English cast really quickly.
I'm planning a speech for Care About Your Community Day. Some friends and neighbors also will speak about community issues, and they're thinking about their topics. I already have mine. Can you guess what it is? I've decided to ask for volunteers to create a community garden. It will help us gain access to good fresh produce. A community garden will also help the environment by providing locally grown food. Speakers have between 2 and 3 minutes for their speeches. That's not a lot of time, so the topics will need to be narrowed and focused. Let's look at how to plan a focused speech. Giving a speech is actually like planting a seed in your listeners' minds. To plant the seed that inspires others to action, you need to use the tools of careful planning. With only 2 or 3 minutes, it's crucial to stay on task. Be sure you've narrowed the topic so that you cover it in the time allowed. Focus on efficiently presenting your strongest ideas, and don't waste time with funny side notes. Your first step is to gather evidence that supports your points and demonstrates your credibility. It's important to use a variety of credible print or electronic sources, such as scientific studies, articles, interviews, or data from reliable organizations. As you plan and organize, don't feel bad about not using all your information. If it makes you lose focus or go over your time limit, more is not better. Don't forget to document your sources so your audience knows where to find more information. Documenting sources also will help ensure that you've included a good variety. Each piece of relevant information that you can include in your speech will help you connect with your audience. Different listeners might be influenced or moved by different information, so try to rely on more than one fact or study. A variety of credible sources provides a speech with persuasive depth. Whether your topic is, like mine, the need for local produce, or another that some community residents have now decided on, like a call to save a local service, or a public service warning others to be mindful about dangerous behavior, such as texting while driving. A well-planned speech, regardless of length, will have greater impact than a hasty, unfocused message that lacks thought, focus, and information. I think I'm ready to draft my speech now. Care About Your Community Day promises to leave audiences with a lot of food for thought.
So hopefully that video gave you a brief understanding of how to conduct research, because like I said, you do absolutely have to have research in your speech, some facts and evidence to support your point. So let's look really quickly at some of the features, some of the things that we've already learned. So the idea of what a claim is, okay? So what is a claim? It is a declaration of the truth. I'm sorry, you can't see that very well. A declaration of the truth of something, typically one that is disputed or in doubt. So if my claim, and I'll give you my example later, I'm going to write a speech about the idea that health food should be cheaper and more accessible. So that's my claim. Okay. Evidence is facts or information indicating whether a belief or declaration is true or valid. Okay. So I need evidence to support my claim. Sufficient, it means to be adequate or enough. So I need sufficient evidence to argue my point. And then relevant means to be connected with. So I need relevant information to make my point clear and to not detract my readers from my actual point. So when you're actually writing your speech, which you're not going to actually start today, you're going to start on Monday, you need to make sure that you have an opening, a body, and a closing. And that's the same as an essay, but a speech is a little bit different because it's going to be geared a little bit differently. So your opening is going to have a hook. It's going to provide background information on the context. So why are you even writing it? Okay? But make it third person the whole time. You don't infuse your own I, me, my. Okay? Present a thesis. We'll work on thesis statements. Give your audience a reason to care about your point. Okay? You can use an anecdote if you would like, maybe a personal story. And then it often begins with humor. So maybe your opening is something funny. Okay, or like imagine, and then you could go on to explain, to help your reader to visualize your point. Okay, your body is going to be those main paragraphs where you include your evidence. It's going to set forth a series of points, reasons, ideas, or observations that support your point or your thesis statement. Oops, sorry about that. It's going to support each point, reason, idea with evidence, so facts that you researched. And it may use rhetorical devices, okay? We've analyzed a ton of speeches that use rhetorical devices, like similes, allusions. We looked at allusions to the Bible, okay? And rhetorical devices help to make your point more interesting, and it helps to grab your reader. And then your closing sums up the information. You're not going to introduce new information. Okay, and then it provides a closure and then a call to action. So maybe